Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. This is the weekly Delta Fishing Report for the week of November 10th. And we'll start off with some river news. I spoke with one of the spray teams from the state that's been out spraying the vegetation. They informed me that the last day that they will be spraying is November 30th. So with that being said, I think they've done a good job out here this year. We have, the navigational channels are all clear. Farmers are pumping. I know we get agitated when we see all the dead vegetation out here that they're spraying, but remember, if they're not out here spraying, we probably wouldn't be out here fishing, because within a year or so, the Delta would be so choked up with this hyacinth and everything else that we have that we wouldn't be able to get out fishing. So keep that in mind. Second line that we'll talk about here is we've got some good sales coming up. I've talked with all of the local shops that I use, and we're talking about Outdoor Sportsman in Stockton, Hook, Line, and Sinker out in Oakley, and the Bass Hole out on Bethel Island. They're all planning some Black Friday sales coming up here in a couple weeks, so I just want to let everyone know. I'll keep in contact with the shop. When they know, what kind of stock they're getting, what they're going to be pushing, where their best deals are, I'll have that information. I'll relay it to you. So if you're thinking about maybe getting some new gear, rods, reels, maybe some stocking up on next year's baits, hold off for a couple weeks. I'll keep you guys in the loop and let you know what's going on with all the sales coming up here in the next couple weeks. All right, what else is going on? The fishing this week has been tough, so one thing I want to do right at the start of the video is let you guys know, if you're lucky enough to get out here and fish, make sure that you're sending me the reports. There's fewer people out here fishing now, fewer tournaments, and it makes it hard for me to get a good idea if I'm just out here by myself fishing around to give you guys, the up-to-date information. So if you're out here, even if the fishing's tough, make sure that you hit me up with some kind of short report. It doesn't have to be a long report. Here's another thing. I'll be real honest. I hate. I've got this YouTube channel, and everybody says, "Well, you got to remind people to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button." Tell me if you like the video, hit that like button. If you like watching, the channel, make sure you subscribe. And I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. I don't care if you like the video or not. Hit the like button. I don't care if you hate my guts. Hit the subscribe button. That's what you guys are supposed to do. So whether you like the videos, whether you hate my guts, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and we'll all be happy. I'll keep doing this. Okay, with that, I will be doing some, I'll try to continue doing, I'll do the report through the winter. I'll be out here, but remember, you guys that are out here, send me some reports, give me a little help. And I will try to do a weekly video. Some of the videos might be short, like I've been doing the last couple of weeks. The video I'll be doing next week is how to break out of a slump, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be interested in that. I'm probably going to watch it twice, because it's not like I've been tearing it up out here, but I do have some information on some things you might be interested in to help get out of a slump. I will also be doing, hopefully, an interview next week with Garland out at Paradise Point Marina. Garland is their the head mechanic, and I want to talk to him and ask him questions about some of the things that we should be doing to maybe winterize our boat or get it ready for next year, some of the maintenance we should be doing on the motors, some of the things that, I want to talk to him about questions that we're interested in, like maybe something that we're doing that we shouldn't be doing, or something that we should be doing, that's going to prolong the life of our engine. So we'll have a good conversation about that, and hopefully we'll get some ideas on, maybe additives that we should be using, certain things like that, additives that you don't want to use, but we'll go through all of that. All right. With that being said, we're going to get right into river conditions, and it's Wednesday. We had a storm front come in Tuesday. I didn't fish Tuesday. It's Wednesday. I went out. I got 52-degree water temperatures Wednesday morning. By about 10 o'clock, the water had warmed up to about 54. So depending on what the weather does in the next week, and I want to also, before I get into the report, say that what happened last week probably doesn't mean a whole lot what's going to go on with this next week. This time of year, with all these fronts coming in, it's going to change daily. But I do have a lot of information for you that I can give you that you can use, maybe build on what you can do for next week. So water temperature 52 to 54 in the morning. And I would say it's probably going to be maybe 56, 58 if the sun comes out and warms it up. But temperatures are steadily falling. I was doing a local trip this morning because I'm only going to be out for maybe till 1 or 2 o'clock. And I stayed in Bishop Cut. I went down to Telephone Cut, and I went down to White Slough. And I'll tell you, the water clarity down there, it's got to be 10 to 15 feet, just crystal clear. Now, I hadn't been up in that area until today. I've been fishing the main channel from, I'll say, Disappointment Slough up to Fisherman's Cut, and I've seen anywhere from about 3 to 6 feet of visibility. That's probably more the norm, but it's going to be changing daily. I just want to remind everybody, as we start getting rain, if we get rain and a little runoff, we're going to have a lot of stuff floating down the river, so be real careful when you're navigating the river. Okay. With that, let's get into the stripers and the largemouth bass. We'll start off with the striper, and I'll say a mid fall report, early winter for stripers is just maybe a C minus, somewhere in there. It started off great. They came in early. There were fish being caught, and a lot of bait in the river, and we all had high hopes. But boy, the last 2 or 3 weeks, it hasn't really materialized like we thought it would. Now, the one bright spot, and it's early for stripers. We'll do a mid-fall report for the largemouth bass too, and it's getting late for the largemouth bass. Stripers, it's still early. We could still have a really good run of fish. I know there's a lot of fish down in Carquinez Straits and out Pittsburgh, Napa River, and those fish will be flushing into here. So it's a little early, but right now, I'll say the grade for stripers is just going to be hopeful. That's the grade. I got a report from Zach over at Outdoor Sportsman, and his was the lone good report. But I want to say something. Zach is in communications with some very elite anglers, and he's getting reports from guys that are probably letting us know what the potential of the river is, but don't expect to do what these guys, longtime Delta anglers, big sticks out here all the time. They're in that tight-knit community that shares information. They're getting fish. That's telling you that the fish is out here. But the average guys are not picking up fish. So Zach says his guys, they're coming out and they're catching big fish on glide baits and top waters in the morning, and the guys that switch over from stripers in the morning to largemouth in the afternoon, they're putting together good fish too. But that's the lone good report. So the potential is out there. Most of my striper reports have been very poor, and I guess another plus or bonus would be that a lot of the guys that are catching stripers, and they're not catching them hand over fist, they're leaving out of lads and they're fishing from downtown, I'll say up to 14 Mile Slough. So the head of the channel has been pretty darn good for stripers. If you're going out of Stockton, you're going out of lads, don't think you have to go out to Frank's Track. The reports that I've been getting, and I've had a lot of reports from guys going out of Frank's Track and going down Fisherman's Cut, fishing the mouth of Fisherman's Cut and around there, they have been very poor. I have fished from Prisoner's Point down to that area, and I have not seen a lot of action. A lot of small fish, and few and far between. The keeper size fish are not big fish. So, and that also goes with the guys that are fishing the head of the channel. When they're catching fish, they're getting fish, their keeper fish are small keepers to maybe 5 or 6 pounds. So with that being said, it's what you're going to do out here. I think the best plan, if you're trying to put a couple fish in the boat to take home to eat, is drift live bait. If you're planning to catch a big fish, get out early in the morning, fish some topwater and glide baits. But it has been slow. Also talked to Jeff Suhu, and here's another telling line. This is the first time I've heard Jeff kind of be a little bit down, because he was out last week and he had tough fishing. He caught fish, but just really working hard, moving around. And I'll tell you, if Jeff is having trouble, everybody is having trouble out here. So with that, that's the striper report. Let's get right into the largemouth bass report. And the largemouth bass, I think, is going to be a little more all over the board, more so than the stripers. I don't think the stripers are quite affected by the weather temperatures and the fronts coming in as much as the largemouth bass. I said that, you know, what happened last week is probably not going to have a lot of effect what's going on this week, because we have these weather patterns coming in, and we're going to hopefully have some more rain, we're going to have some wind, we're going to have some fronts, and the barometer is going to be up and down. What you can depend on is right now the bass are in small schools. There's no huge schools of bass where you're just going to catch fish after fish after fish. The bite windows are short, maybe 10-15 minutes. Your plan should be, if you're out here during the course of a day, you got to fish really hard, hope that you are in the right spot at the right time, where you run into one of these pods of fish when that 10-15 minute bite window is on. You can do pretty well. There has not been as many dinks in the bag as there has been in the last couple weeks. The bigger fish are in that 1.5 to 2.5 pound class. It's still hard for me to get anything over 3 pounds, but the nice thing is I'm not being bothered by 50 or 60 dinks in a day. I may catch 20 fish, and out of those 20 fish I may have 10, 12 of those fish that are keeper size to 2.5 pounds. Last week the fish were really chasing reaction baits, and we're talking about everything from spinner baits, crank baits, jerk baits, lipless. What else have I been throwing out here? That's what I've been throwing, and a lot of people have been getting them on that. My number one bait last week was an LV 500 in a shad color. My second bait was a jerk bait, and I'm using that in both a shad color and a kind of a copper color or a gold color. That was last week, and it was putting fish in the boat, and I actually had a decent week of not big fish, but at least keeper size fish. One thing that I've been doing is I've been going to a smaller rod. I've got a little Tatula here. I've got a little underspin on it. I have been catching some fish on an underspin. I put mono, which I don't normally use out here, and a little 150 reel instead of a 200. So I've got a light rod, and I'm throwing these baits that it makes it fun to catch a 2.5 pound fish. This morning, after the front, this morning they just weren't chasing baits. They were taking the old standard 5-inch Cinco, unweighted, with a not fished wacky, but just with a inline worm hook. Super slow. They're just not, they're I don't know, they were on a very tough bite this morning. I was catching fish though once I decided I need to slow down and just drag it through the weeds. And one thing I could say, that I think I caught 2 fish over 2 pounds this morning, and both of those fish just reeling in very slow. When I hit some of the Eladia, the subsurface vegetation, I just kind of reeled enough to pop it through. That's where I got both of the bigger fish. So the bigger fish are down there in the weeds, and they're not coming out and really wanting to play a whole lot. So you may have to slow down this next week. If you come out here, make sure you keep those fast moving baits on. The one bait that I didn't mention was this little underspin with the Kitech. Those are working. Keep those on in your arsenal, but boy, really start to think about jigs and worms and drop shots, and maybe some creature baits, throwing them very slowly and just working them through the vegetation. That could be the trick to getting fish this week. So thank you guys for watching. I will be out here, seeing what I can get going. I hope you guys get something going. Make sure to send me a report if you do get out here. And until next week, I'll see you guys on the water. Thanks again for watching.